Alright, hello and welcome back to Ashgabat Cat's Arcade Calvacade. Today we are playing irobot, which, according to the quick Google result that kind of wrote under it when I searched for it, this is a 3D game ahead of its time that had 3D at a time when not many games had 3D. Another aspect in which this game is ahead of its time, apparently, there are two games in one. There is the game and the ungame. Rest assured, we will check out both. Oh my god, I really wonder what time period this game, I open, don't jump. That's very elucidating. I'm glad you told me this. I open, don't jump rats. What the do not jump if I is red. Okay, on the surface, that sounds like a reasonable command. However, there are a few questions, like 1, what is the I? 2, where am I? Don't touch the red? I open, don't jump. Okay, how do I jump? You know, just tell me so I don't do it by accident. This is incredibly wait, touch red? What? Are we supposed to be touching red? Not supposed to be touching red? Our score goes up if we touch red. Oh, so now you... This is like a fever dream just gone wrong. Like, I am just trying to So, solid life advice. Remember to avoid solid objects. I mean, in the beginning, I thought this was like a shoot 'em up, and the first level is more of a maze 'em up, but now it is a shoot 'em up. So, I guess this game is a shoot 'em up throughout the entire time? It was a shoot 'em up the entire time? Man, I am gonna have one heck of a time figuring out like what to put for genre of game for this game. Hint: touch all jewels inside red pyramids for big score. That sounds like a good hint, but I don't know what the jewels are, I don't know what the red pyramids are, and I certainly don't know what a score is good for. So your advice falls on deaf ears. Are we playing the game? Tired of... Am I accidentally playing the ungame, or am I playing the game, or what? Oh, I see. I didn't actually... Okay, so what happened there was I had somehow inputted a credit, but I didn't actually, like, start a game. And so it was just letting me cycle through all the hints, which is actually kind of a cool thing to do, because, oh, eye is open. Of course, don't jump if the eye is red. It's so obvious in retrospect now that they've explained it to me. And just in case you're wondering if you're jumping, it's not a button. You just literally walk off the path. This game, like, it almost makes sense, but it really doesn't make sense. I swear. But anyway, what was happening was, like, I inserted a credit. So I get a 99 point bonus for shooting all the tetras. Never mind that I don't know what a tetra is. No jump. Okay. What the heck? So, okay, now is there an evil eye that I have to watch out for? And it seems... okay, that almost makes sense. So it's kind of like other games where you could jump from thing to thing, and then, unlike other games, as you jump... My bad. I was not even thinking to look at the eye. I was so busy trying to ponder the fact that my character can seemingly jump over any distance, and that, like, does not really pose any questions. Now I'm starting to get other questions like, who the heck programmed this? Like, how did they program this? Because if you told me this was the first 3D game ever, I would believe you. And yet, who had the forward-thinking vision to come up with a game like this? And also, what total, complete madman would make, like, a combination platform jumping game and then shoot 'em up? Like, the imagination that went into this game is impressive. But also probably the amount of what the heck? Okay, so I thought I was doing pretty well. I thought I was starting to understand the game. And then I went into a transporter, and now I seem to have changed the level. Is this intentional? Is this unintentional? Is this crazy? Will the evil eye get me? Can I destroy the blue balls? I don't know. I literally don't know. The more start buttons change view. I did not know that. That is legitimately helpful advice, but why would I want to change the view? What would I change the view to? What is happening with this game? This game is more like this game is more baffling than what was it? It was like Earth Day 2 or whatever, or no, X Day 2. And that game doesn't even really make sense, like why it exists. But then this game is just absolutely crazy. On the bright side though, once you do know what you're doing, you can actually do things in pretty good time. Well, at least you could if the bonus for doing the time didn't, like, you know, take up a lot of time in and of itself. Which, if you think about it, is kind of counterintuitive. It's kind of like in Mario, where if you go fast enough, sort of, then you unlock fireworks at the end. But it's like, then it just slows you down. Well, that's not entirely the same thing, because at least with the fireworks, that only happens if your score ends in 3. And also interesting is that as you jump, then you, like, fill in the blocks behind you. So that means you actually unlock, like, more jump paths in what is something that just complete. So just in case you were thinking, you could outsmart the eye by walking past it behind one of those green blocks. No, the eye is an all-seeing eye. I mean, hey, haven't you heard of the Illuminati? They don't have any blind spots, man. You try to do any sort of nonsense and they are wise to it. Maybe I did get all the reds. I don't know. Oh, shoot birds. That's... Of course, how could I have overlooked that elementary aspect of the game? So start button changes views, huh? So I press start button. Well, I changed the view. Is this better or worse? I want to say worse, but it's not like the view beforehand was all that good anyway, so it is what it is. Did I destroy it? Did it destroy me? Is there any limit to my auto fire? The answers are no, yes, and no. 99 bonus for shooting all the Tetras, even though 999 points is not all that many points. Okay, once again we find ourselves entering into the transporter. I do not know if this is worth anything. Is there an eye? Of course there's an eye, otherwise it'd be an easy game. Remember, shoot birds. Whoa! I mean, it's the simplest thing, right? You're shooting a bird in a game. If this were any other game, shooting birds would be like lame. It would be almost a chore. But because this game has crazy, inexplicable 3D, the birds just explode in this polygon of color. Oh my god, it's very exciting. And the other thing too is if you mess up, then like, you're gonna die. So... yeah, wow. Did I mention there's a lot of things going on with this game? Although, every spike must be shot. Shoot head to make it turn and stop spiking. I mean, it was obvious, right? Like, how could I have been so silly? Now, if there's one thing I really appreciate about this game, though, Like, you can go through the levels pretty much as fast as your character can move. And so, I'm gonna go back to where I was, because honestly, I want to see what happens next in this. Oh, interesting. So it seems to remember your position, your camera position? I assume so. It's actually a little bit hard to tell the camera angles apart. But actually, this seems like a neat game to do a speedrun of or something. Because again, it just kind of comes down to your own personal level of skill, not necessarily like how fast the game itself wants you to play it. It's more like how fast can you play it. I mean, again, as a human being and not a supercomputer, there's only a certain amount of information you can process. Now, the land here thing, I'm not entirely sure how much that matters. But again, I feel no urge or compunction to test it. Okay, so it looks like you cannot initiate a jump if the eye is looking at you. But if you're jumping in the air and then the eye happens to look at you, then that, it seems, is okay? Sure. I mean, you know how it is with arcade games. As you play and as you get more and more familiar with its rules, then you start trying to, like, push things more and more. Like, you see there, it's like I tried jumping as the eye was closing, because, like, certainly if the eye is all the way open, it's gonna see you. But if it's starting to, like, close its eye, if it's starting to blink, it's like, will it still see you? Well, the answer there is a tentative no. Solid life advice. That's words to live by. And you know what the worst part is? It's like if I wanted to, I could just wuss out and only go one way. Also, what was that little I-beam looking thing that was hanging out there? I mean, I've been noticing it all the few times, but I still don't know what it is or what it does. Oh my gosh, there's a view multiplier. So apparently the game knows that different 3D views give different levels of difficulty. But this is the first game I've ever seen that actually gives you a point bonus based on what view you're in. That's a little out there, quite frankly. That's a little out there. Alright, well, so the way I'm planning to do this is I'm planning to make a quick cut to when I make it past that third level. You, as the viewer, will of course know the truth. So just in case you thought that this stage had no actual danger, nope, it all comes from the weird ring thing. Well, and also your own inattention if you try to jump while the eye is open. But let's ignore that part. Let's go in. So, touch jewels, don't touch buzzsaws. Okay. Simple. Hey, wait, but the eye's looking at me. I can't jump, but the eye's looking at me. Apparently you can. So now that we've destroyed the eye, like, are we immune to the eye now? Does the eye no longer have dominion over this realm? Because if so, that would make this game a whole lot easier. Of course, I bet there's gonna be like a super eye or something. Of course, there's always another. Hey, I was kind of getting away with that. Although, I did get an extra life, so that works too. Okay, when I earlier said that you can be in the air while the eye is not looking, that is not true. You have to time your jumps so that the eye will not see you. It's a strangely manageable game, because, like, well, I sure won't forget that Doodle City, but I gotta talk a little first. It's a strangely not overwhelming game, because even though there's, like, a lot of things you have to worry about, there's no, like, immediate danger, and really the only incentive to play through quickly is pretty much score. And, like, I mean, yeah, that's a fun thing to play for, and it's, like, it's a good incentive, but it's not like you have to move if you don't want to die. Like, you can take the law no jump. Oh, yeah. I've had fever dreams that have made more sense than this game. But anyway, like even that first level, it's like, okay, so the birds will kill you, but they only kill you if you're in the air and you run into them. And also you can shoot them. So, okay, quick solution, don't run into them. Okay, now the eye can kill you. Yes, but that's only if you're in the air while the eye sees you. And so, while there are ways to die, and while there are things you have to be aware of, like if you're going to die, or if something is going to kill you, it was entirely because it was your fault. And so that's a very weird way of structuring a game. Well, it's not weird. That is, in theory, the ideal of making a game where the only way you can die is if it's your fault. There's like no randomness necessarily. But it's a weird way to do an arcade game, because an arcade game, it's like they got to make their money. They got to kill you. And so just to see this game that, I don't know, it's kind of friendly if you get past most of everything you see. It's actually a fairly friendly game. I guess, yeah, don't judge a book by its cover, because sometimes it's kind of nice, and they'll give you candy if you go into their van. Well, on that note, there is an ungame. I was promised an ungame, so use controls to paint a picture. Well, this is usually... So you can press the button to alternate between objects. So this is usually about the time when I would complain that there's not enough gameplay. But, I feel like that's kind of the point. Whoa. Well, that's kind of cool. You can see, like, its perspective changes. It shifts from left and right. And then also it clogs up the screen. It's like the solitaire effect when you clear a game solitaire, and it's like it makes you feel so good. This is strangely therapeutic. And, at worst, it's a quick way to waste a credit. Which, well, it's kind of savvy of them to come up with something like this, because, like, if you think about it, it doesn't probably take that much additional programming work, because, I mean, you already have all these polygons. You already just kind of move them around, and then it's like, to, like, leave them on the screen, it's like you just leave it in the code. It's like, hey, never delete it. And it's like, oh, that's tricky. Now, if I feather it, can it leave more of them? Not really. I don't know if this arcade game is meant to have a stick or not, but right now it has a stick. And then, okay, let's... Oh, that's interesting. There seem to be actual limits to where my object can be. So, none of this unrestrained creativity nonsense. We only deal with rules here. Okay, can I clear off the screen well enough? Because one thing they don't tell you is because of the perspective, you can just keep moving it left, and then you'll color it all in. Oh, but you can't. Okay. I think I've got this down. So what you do is you color both sides. Oh, but then I have to color this. Basically, you color both sides, you work your way to the middle, and then you finish off with the rolling tube when there's no brown showing. That's the game. Because apparently I cannot have unrestrained creativity. I need to make it into a game. Ooh, start one, clear. Oh. So I guess if you want to clear the screen, you could also press start. I get... Oh, you can spin it? You can spin it? Unfortunately, I don't know how to spin it. But if I did, that would be cool. Both starts. Special. Whoa. Did I don't think I did. Oh, no, maybe I did. Hey. This is the special. I see. No, I kind of don't. Well, whatever. Oh, and we're almost out of time. I guess... Well, we'll do a little bit of painting fun while we still got time. Oh, I wanted the buzzsaw. Oh, okay. I know who that guy is. Fire to continue. I didn't even... Well, okay, maybe I accidentally edited more credits and the game will automatically play them out for me. But maybe I didn't. And maybe the game is just letting me have some fun. It's like, hey, this is our loss leader. It's like, we'll let you have a little bit of fun in exchange for you putting a lot of credits into us later. I feel like that's a fair exchange. But, well, that was iRobot. I did not expect to see a well-done 3D-based arcade game in a time far before there really should have been 3D. And I also certainly didn't expect to have a fun little creativity app just kind of floating around in there. Oh, that's right. The red eye is way better than the yellow eye. That's why he's clogging up the screen. He's all-seeing. In fact, he's so all-seeing, he makes it so you can't even see the other guy. That's how he maintains his dominion. Oh, but you thought red eye was the best. Now it's time for blue eye. Oh my gosh, it's like I'm a child again. Someone just gave me a pack of crayons and they said, hey, go nuts, kid. And I just started drawing a bunch of eyes with different colored pupils. And then whoever gave me the crayons or whatever is like, actually, I regret doing this. Please give them back and make a solemn oath to never do this again, kid. Also, you might be schizophrenic. Is there another color of eye? Ooh, green eye. The green eye is jealous of all the other eyes. That's why he's gonna clog up the screen with his picture. Is there... Okay, what's next? Cyan eye. He's the rarest. That's why he went away. Ooh, darker shade red eye. You know, I think at some point in time... Ooh, it's a rainbow cloud. I think at some point in time I was planning to actually stop playing this, but... it just keeps sucking me in. And at the very end, it's going to say, hey, press A to continue. And it's like, you know what? I'm just wasting my time here, but I love it. I love it. And plus, too, they give you 3 minutes per credit, which, I mean, that's kind of fair. That's kind of going rate for gameplay. Because, again, the game's kind of hard. 3 minutes, yeah, you'd be lucky to get that playing the game. But painting, it's like, you can't lose at painting. There's no way you can lose at painting. Well, I guess unless you're trying to make a living of it, and then you don't make a living of it. But that's unexciting real-world pragmaticism. I just want to make shapes show up on the screen. Oh, it's the transporter. Yeah, I still don't know what the transporter does, but it sure makes a nice color line when it does it. Oh, hey, we're back to this... What was this even for? Oh, is this the pyramid? It's so iconic because it's on the title screen, but I don't know where they actually use this thing. Well, 2 seconds. Let's see. Press start to continue to game. Okay. This is a weird game, especially because I think it gives you things... It gives you gameplay for free? Maybe it's because it knows I have the credits. Oh, wow. So you only get half the points if you play in this perspective. You get 1 times the points if you play in this perspective. Oh, 1.5. Is there a 2? Oh my gosh. Why are there so many... Oh. You know how it says press the start button to cycle through views? Well... There's no way to cycle back through views, so we're pretty much stuck in hard mode now. Have you ever tried sledding down a hill? Yeah, you sled down feet first, and it's like, okay, it's just kind of sledding like normal. But if you try sledding face first, oh man, is that a fun time. Ooh, speaking of fun times, there's a teleporter back here? Maybe that's only if you're good. Of course you can run into the birds when you're at the top of the pyramid. It wouldn't be a game if you couldn't. There's just so much here, and it's so weird because you look at like other modern day games that in theory were inspired and descended from this game, and it's like they are nothing at all like this game. So this game is kind of like one of those weird evolutionary like branches where like everything's kind of different. They kind of evolved and figured something out, but it didn't like have any descendants, so pretty much the evolution stops there. And I guess once again, it's lost to time. I just want to say this before I leave though, the shield, it does count down how many reds you've seen. I don't know, I didn't quite realize what that did, and it seemed kind of helpful. Anyway, well, maybe we can see what year this game was made in. Good work. Well, I personally would not call it that, but hey, you're asking for my initials, I'll gladly provide them. Oh, what year? 1983. The first video game with real-time computer-generated, mathematically perfect, solid 3-dimensional graphics. As claimed by the game itself. I mean, I don't know enough to dispute that claim, but I am somewhat skeptical if it's the game itself claiming that. Still though, iRobot. This was actually a really cool game, and because they include the painting ungame part, technically it's more of an experience than a game. So okay, this was a really cool experience. But unfortunately, all experiences must come to an end. Otherwise, we'd call it life or something. So on that note, this cat's got a scat.